In addition to the studio, Christine's soul was also dimmed. The anticipatory silence before recording, the click of cameras, the subtle hum of equipment, all of these elements reflected the silence she had endured for decades. It was a familiar silence, too much like home. Christine Brownwoolley sat up straight in the upholstered chair, looking confident and composed, but her heart pounded in her chest like a secret that begged to be revealed. For months, she had mentally practiced this moment. Not a single cue card. No mentoring. No scripts for glamorized reality TV. This was her voice, raw, wild, and fearless. The camera light then flashed red. As though looking into a mirror for the first time, her gaze fixed itself on the lens. I feel ashamed that I was a polygamous person. The words were heavy, unrecoverable, and reverberated into the studio air, the women's hearts, and the future they could no longer pretend was unbroken. They fell like stones. She let out a deep exhale. Her chest shook. I regret thinking it was honorable. That I based my sense of value on the approval of a man who needed a camera crew to remind him of my birthday. Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Blinking back tears, she paused. For years, she had sobbed in private, into pillows, in dimly lit closets, and in the driver's seat of a parked minivan. However, this wail was unique. A protracted, debilitating drought was being broken by this storm. Flashback, 2010 in Lehi, Utah. The house was busy. Mary was once again brooding in her room. Janelle was in the kitchen, the camera team was upstairs, and Cody was pacing while chuckling into his phone as like the outside world didn't exist. At the sink, Christine stood. As she gazed out the window, the suds of dish soap stuck to her arms like chains. Cody didn't notice or care that Truly's cries could be heard clearly in the playpen behind her. He was speaking to Robin once again. Babe, you're quite adorable. I adore that you never stop thinking about me. The foam forcefully squeezed from between Christine's fingers as her fists clenched around a sponge. She had a robotic smile. It was armor she had learned to wear. Days before, she had muttered to herself in the pantry, "He's allowed to be in love. Love has no boundaries. Love is divine. Love is." She was unable to complete the phrase. Not when she was aware that her true feelings were embarrassment. She had battled for his interest. She was a competitor. Despite her internal withering, she had prepared elaborate dinners, acted as though she enjoyed the superficial talks, and persuaded herself she was spiritually fulfilled. Her voice from today reverberated over the recollection. We told the world we were united. But we were in pieces. We were in cages made of glass. Today, the Utah home of Christine Warmlight filled the house she now lived with David Woolley. There was no sense of a set. The atmosphere was not one of trial and error. It was peaceful. As she got ready to go on air, David, her steady and considerate second husband, sat calmly next to her. She put the new ring on her finger and twisted it instead of the old one from her marriage to Cody. The one that wasn't purchased with borrowed love, showmanship, or guilt. David grabbed her hand. "This is not necessary for you to do," he added softly. "Nobody needs an explanation from you." She answered, "I owe myself the truth." She didn't turn her head. She was unable to. Too many evenings had been spent worrying about whether her girls would make the same mistakes she did. If they would take crumbs for food. If they would learn to put up with misogyny. People praised me for my bravery when I broke up with Cody. However, I wasn't. I simply felt empty. David gave her hand a kiss. "Christine, you broke the chain. That is bravery." This time, the tears came more slowly, like gentle rain on parched earth. Michael T's home, concurrently cradling her infant. Michael T sat on the couch. The only sounds in the living room were Christine's voice on the TV and the steady squeak of the rocker underneath her. It wasn't until she felt her daughter's small palm against her cheek that she realized she was crying. She muttered at the screen, "Mom, I'm really happy for you." Alone in Aspen's apartment, candlelight flickered softly around Aspen as she sat cross-legged on her mat. Every few minutes, she took a moment to process the shock of hearing what they had all understood but never heard spoken out loud while watching the spectacular unfold live. "I brought up daughters to have confidence in themselves," Christine went on screen. "I was a hypocrite, though. I didn't think highly of myself. I gave in. I vanished. Aspen used the sleeve of her sweatshirt to wipe her face. "Mom, you're not going anywhere right now," she whispered quietly. "At last you're here." A bed and breakfast in Parowan, Utah called Mary's with a ghostly blue glow from the television. Mary sat on the edge of her bed. She had poured a glass of red wine for herself, the kind she formerly believed to be the first step toward sin. It was rebellion now, though. Recovery. Once more, Christine's voice was heard. I saw Mary break down as she was rejected. Janelle disappears into the distance. We weren't spouses. The heritage we were a part of was based on spiritual gaslighting. Mary gazed at the display. She then turned the scene around. Once more. And once more. She had a constricted throat. Her hand shook as she held her wine glass. She refrained from crying. Not quite yet. Her quiet, however, was explosive. House of Robin, the aftershock with her arms folded, her gaze narrowed, and her lips pressed into a thin line. Robin stood in the center of her living room. Like a balloon slowly leaking air, Cody sat slouched on the recliner. She is attempting to damage the family's reputation. Robin lost her temper. This is deception. It's resentment. It's jealousy. Cody remained silent. She will poison the children against us all. In opposition to you. At last, Cody raised his head. He had a sunken face. Robin, they're already gone. They've already abandoned me. His voice broke. Robin saw something in him that she had never seen before for the first time. Defeat. Several days later at TLC studio, Janelle, Mary, and Christine were seated at a round table. None of the questions the producers had prepared were necessary. The three women's silence weighed more than any predetermined words. Finally, Christine said, polygamy wasn't just hard. Erasure was what it was. It convinced me that power came from obedience. Womanhood was that martyrdom. When Janelle spoke, her voice was hardly heard. We supported one another. However, we had no idea how to save ourselves. Crossing the table, Mary reached. Her fingers were tentative but determined. Now we do, she muttered. A triangle of strength formed by shared loss, harsh realities, and delayed healing. The three of them clasped hands. The last scene, a symbolic funeral, the cemetery was silent, windswept, and ancient. Under a canopy of naked trees, Christine walked by herself as the snowflakes falling from the sky melted instantaneously on her coat. A little stone bearing a single message was in her hand. Compliance with her bare hands, she delved into the freezing ground while kneeling at the base of an old cottonwood. Like a memory she was at last ready to let go of, the stone sank into the ground. In voiceover, she added, I buried who I was told to be. I made a fresh start. For me. For my daughters. For those women who are still ensnared in a form of love that does not reciprocate their affection. Brushing the dirt from her palms, she straightened up and faced the horizon. A gentle beam of golden light descended like forgiveness as the clouds overhead slowly parted. She didn't cry. She was no longer had to. She had freedom. And there's more. Stars of Sister Wives. Another example of how Cody and Robin Brown make rustic style shocking and surreal is the odd artwork they put on display in their old Flagstaff, Arizona house. The painting depicts two horses having sex. Cody and Robin are interested in Western elements. In most cases, people don't preserve romantic animal artwork in their homes. This questionable masterpiece is really standard fare for anyone who has seen other decorations in their homes. Some of their quirky rooms will be included in this article. Whether the Browns' Walmart rug is attracting the wrath of caustic Redditors with axes to grind or Cody and Robin's Flintstone sink is receiving unfavorable notice, the contentious couple's interior design raises questions. If they were just folks, others may laugh at their decor. But they are preceded by their reputations, which incite a surprisingly high level of violence. The symbols of love between Robin and Cody are legendary. The Heart of the Ocean pendant by David Yurman, which Cody wears, seems to recall the spirit of Jack Dawson and Rose DeWitt Bukater's tragic romance on the Titanic. He also has a ring with a wild stallion pattern that was designed by the same designer. Horses can have symbolic meaning for him and Robin. When two horses have a kiss in a picture, like the one above, by a Reddit's mindful the painting is on the wall next to the bookcase. It's a somewhat strange Lady and the Tramp-esque moment. The issue is that the Disney kitsch that makes everything work is missing from Cody and Robin's painting. When Disney does it, two dogs eat pasta together, sharing a noodle in a loving manner. In sharp contrast, the horses in Robin and Cody's picture are extremely lifelike and not cartoon figures. The whole strangeness is emphasized by the horses' realistic appearance. Although beauty is subjective, the artwork is simply not that appealing as art. This is a visually appealing work of art that Cody and Robin genuinely appreciate. The image above, taken from the same Reddit thread in which a detective fan conducted a real walkthrough of Cody and Robin's old home, has bulky leather furniture and a $219.99 cowboy-themed rug from Walmart. Any real royal would probably not want to sleep in the medieval-style bedroom in another room. It's all too fresh, too purple, and too gaudy. According to the saying, better nouveau riche than not at all, both Cody and Robin seem to possess the type of new money that typically results in such extravagant decor. Their home is sorely lacking the kind of old money flair that makes a space eclectic rather than garish, but there's nothing wrong with them purchasing what they want. Some interior decorators are successful in their attempts to create lively interiors by combining new and old pieces. Because he was raised in poverty and was surrounded by antiques, which represented hardship to him, Elvis Presley detested antiques. He made sure there was nothing old-timey about Graceland when he received some money, which he thankfully received because he truly deserved it. It's an illustration of the kind of new money fashion that Robin and Cody wear. But even though they are well known, their old house will never have spectacular provenance, as they say on Antiques Roadshow. Regarding Cody and Robin's taste, one Redditor commented on the thread, saying, "So, back to the horses. Out there in the desert, nuzzling each other so tenderly. What could they mean?" For Cody and Robin, the horses kissing may bring to mind old rock tunes like Wildfire or Wild Horses. These sweet yet too sentimental songs could awaken their inner tenderness and affection. After these two stallions crossed paths, nothing was the same. Cody's love for Robin was so intense that no one else could ever match it. The other brown women didn't like what they saw. His heart was right there on his sleeve. He entered a perverse dynamic where he genuinely loved one spouse but only went through the motions with the other spouses, rather than treating them all the same. In actuality, it was just a question of time until everything collapsed. Christine started an evacuation when she ran away, and soon Cody was alone himself with Robin and their children. Although Robin's desire for a core family had been fulfilled, life is not just a leisurely stroll through a picturesque setting. It's anything but. Robin bemoans Cody in the aforementioned footage, saying he is sabotaging their relationship. She seems to have had enough. The two may not have hoped for this idyllic conclusion. Even Robin and Cody, who seem to love each other, have their ups and downs in real life. But the romantic enchantment that unites them might be sufficient to guarantee the Sister Wives cast members' continued togetherness. When Cody Brown compared himself to one of his ancestors who was viewed as a womanizer in a recent Sister Wives episode, it's possible that his ego was on display. Cody was previously married to 4 different women: Robin Brown, Christine Brown, Janelle Brown, and Mary Brown. Cody and his wives, who had 18 children between them, lived as a single, contented family while embracing plural marriage. But after a difficult couple of years, Christine decided to leave Cody in 2021. Mary and Janelle soon followed. Robin and Cody are still married in a monogamous relationship. The son of Cody and Janelle, Garrison Brown, tragically committed suicide in 2024. In a recent episode of Sister Wives Season 19, Robin, Cody, and their kids head to Cody, Wyoming, where Cody grew up, to attend Garrison's funeral. The family is still struggling to deal with the loss. Cody used the occasion to show his family his former haunts. When it was brought up that Cody was named after Cody, he gave an explanation of how it came to be, while also giving himself a pat on the back. While at Cody for Garrison's service, Cody and Robin took their children, Aurora, Brianna, Solomon, and Ariella Brown, to show them where Cody was raised. Cody took the children on a tour of Cody, a little town approximately an hour distant from his birthplace. Cody, a hamlet of roughly 10,000 people, is where Cody recalled running around Chaz girls when he was younger. Cody told his children stories about his days as a sign salesman while he proudly showed them Cody. Cody was named after Buffalo Bill, whose real name was William Frederick Cody, Robin explains to the children. Buffalo Bill inspired the name of the town of Cody, and Cody's father gave him the name Cody, but he wanted to stand out, so he spelled it with a K. Cody shares Buffalo Bill's legend with his children, claiming that he met Sitting Bull and that the two of them toured the Wild West together. He was essentially a showman. When Cody described Buffalo Bill as an entertainer, Robin questioned whether Cody also thought of himself as such. Robin's question caused Cody at first object, but he later acknowledged that there were some parallels. According to Cody, Buffalo Bill was likely very charming, very entertaining, very friendly, and maybe a bit of a ladies' man, I'm assuming. Cody remarked, "I don't consider myself a ladies' man," to the laughter of Robin and their elder girls. Given that Cody had 4 wives, it's impossible to argue that he isn't a ladies' man, which makes Robin and the children laugh even harder. Cody clarified that the family's religious beliefs, not his desire for more women, were the reason they had 4 wives. Robin rolled her eyes at this, thinking the term might be used to describe him. It was clear that Cody could relate to his well-known ancestor in some ways, and he appeared eager to compare himself to him. Cody is the kind of guy who finds meaning in the ordinary and waxes poetic about life. Whether it's his family history, his polygamous status, his fatherhood, or even his previous job as a sign salesman, he has a tendency to romanticize everything. At one point, Cody offered bracelets he had made especially for each of his wives. His justifications for each reflected his feelings. The Latin term meaning loyalty was engraved on Mary's necklace, which was fashioned like a scroll. Robin's was a phoenix inspired by a song she and Cody enjoyed. Christine's was a pixie queen, and Janelle's was made with earthy aspects in mind. Cody wanted his wives to understand the symbolic meaning behind the designs he chose for each of their necklaces. Cody's world was upended by his several divorces. Many seasons of Sister Wives focused on the aftermath of the divorces, particularly Cody's mental health as his entire world fell apart. Cody experienced all phases of grieving, including denial and rage. However, Cody has shown us a new side lately. He can now sympathize with his ex-wives and has come to terms with what transpired. Cody made the proper decision by giving Mary and Janelle a fair portion of the proceeds from the sale of Coyote Pass, the 18 acres of land the family had acquired in 2018. Naturally, both Janelle and Mary threatened to file a lawsuit, but Cody did follow through on the land transaction. He also sees the problems in his marriages with greater maturity. Sometimes Cody acts like a child. Even though he is an 18-year-old parent, he occasionally acts like a child, especially when he is happy or excited. At least he has a whimsical side despite his tendency for drama and excess. Cody looks for life's beauty and the lessons that can be learned from it. Cody has a poetic perspective on grief, even when discussing his sentiments following Garrison's passing. He says that one must accept it or it will consume them. Cody likely uses it as a coping strategy to present things his way and to infuse the mundane facts with a little magic. It is likely best for Cody to do whatever it takes to accept Garrison's passing and move on, especially in this circumstance. For years, Sister Wives Christine Brown followed Cody Brown around like a lost puppy. The mother of 6 would often agree with the patriarch's lofty ideals and rarely caused a stir. However, the spark that made Christine feel so special began to fade as their marriage progressed. The TLC revealed why she eventually gave up on Cody and began focusing on herself on the most recent tell-all. Although it was difficult, Christine had to acknowledge that her life had been wrapped up in what Cody needed and wanted for a very long time. Even while he wasn't around, I kept thinking, we'll do this, and this when he gets here. According to Christine, acknowledging that he was the son for a very long period was embarrassing. Cody would move from house to house, as Sister Wives fans are aware. Additionally, most of the time, the women were left to manage their own homes as if they were the only parent. In order to make room for him, we had to modify our plans, Christine said. Ultimately, after nearly 2 decades of marriage, Christine decided to end her marriage since it was no longer fulfilling her. She pointed out that it wasn't typical for the family to behave as though Cody were a king. "That's not okay," she said. "That is unfair. It makes him the center of our affections. And the fact that I experienced it makes me feel embarrassed and frustrated." Regarding respect, she believes that Cody may have once had some regard for the women, but only in relation to specific roles and occupations. During the season, Cody said, "Christine did me a favor when she was brave enough to leave," which severely irritated Christine. "I'm glad he thinks so," the ex-third wife said to Entertainment Tonight. "It seems to be providing me the respect and recognition I merit for leaving. It was challenging. However, it was really empowering when I did it. And the wisest decision I ever made. And I'm so glad he understands it." When it comes to his first 3 spouses, sister spouse's followers had seen for years before the breakup that he seldom ever counted his blessings. When things didn't go his way, he would frequently have several tantrums since he took them for granted. Only after losing everyone but Robin Brown did he begin to acknowledge that he could be flawed. He would say things like, "Don't blame me for not loving you," for months, which infuriated supporters and exacerbated his divorce. Cody believed that he had been wronged for years and was trapped in the patriarchal system. It appears that the sister wives' family is accepting their death as season 19 draws to a close. Let us know in your comments. And stay tuned by subscribing our channel to get more updates like this. Thanks everyone.